When you're blasting through overwhelming hordes of fish skeletons with a souped-up umbrella shotgun while vibing to the beat of a far-out electronic soundtrack, it's hard not to think Splatoon 3 is so dang cool. Its unparalleled sense of style is on full display in the Side Order DLC, even as it swaps its iconic, vibrant color palette for this equally alluring black and white dystopia. Nintendo's first big swing at a highly replayable single-player roguelite mode does come with some growing pains, including repetitive boss battles, inconsistent difficulty, and occasionally poor pacing. But Side Order still thrives thanks to bonkers new abilities that let me completely shatter what's usually possible in Splatoon, a clever new enemy class with top-notch designs and mechanics, and its appetizing twist on the phenomenal look, sound, and feel Splatoon fans have come to expect. It's endlessly cool to me that Splatoon 3's Mad Max-inspired setting was the direct result of Team Chaos winning out over Team Order during a Splatoon 2 Splatfest in 2019. 5 years later, Side Order cleverly shows us what the Splatlands would have looked like if Team Order had won instead, replacing its post-apocalyptic wasteland with the sterile, monochrome Order sector. And this side of Splatoon is incredibly cool. Draining all the color from Splatoon 2's Inkopolis Square gives Side Order its own identity, distinct from the color-soaked splattlefields of Turf War, Salmon Run, and Splatoon 3's campaign. After a somewhat chatty tutorial reintroduces Splatoon 2 fan favorites Pearl and Marina, you're set loose to fight your way through the Spire of Order's 30-floor gauntlet, although I use the word gauntlet lightly as I beat the final boss waiting at floor 30 on just my second attempt. That's my biggest problem with Side Order. It's just too easy. Roguelites are supposed to be about incremental progress where both your character and your own skills improve with every run. But while those progression systems are in place, I felt robbed of that loop of failure, advancement, and eventual triumph when I was already watching the credits roll after less than 2 hours. Granted, I have over 100 hours in competitive multiplayer and have hit S+ rank multiple times, and Side Order started me out with the dualies, which happens to be my weapon of choice, so someone coming in after months away will probably have a tougher time climbing this tower. Still, it was a disappointing outcome when I came in hoping for a challenge that would force me to flex my muscles. Thankfully, rolling credits is just the start of Side Order, as it quickly dares you to reach the end with all 12 available weapon types. This is a much taller task than winning a single run, as it has forced me to get comfortable with weapons I've barely touched, most of which have to be unlocked with keys earned as you do runs. I wouldn't stick around to 100% Side Order if it weren't for the fantastic ways this DLC expands upon Splatoon 3's basic gameplay. Unshackled from the balance requirements of competitive PvP, Nintendo really lets you get weird with it. Side Order's impressive suite of new abilities are held within color chips, which you earn on each floor during a run. There are over 60 different color chips defined, which can enhance your Octoling's power, speed, range, and more. Stacking the right color chips can create some crazy combinations, turning a short-range weapon like the Octobrush into a long-range sniper rifle with homing shots. It's a ton of fun to see how far you can push Splatoon's mechanics, transforming standard weapons into unrecognizable death machines. Another great addition is the Pearl Drone, your Octoling's flying assistant that can drop splat bombs, fire off special attacks, and even be used as a Breath of the Wild-like glider. While your color chip build resets at the start of each run, you can permanently upgrade both the Pearl Drone and some of your basic character stats in between them. Ever since I fully outfitted the Pearl Drone with multiple equipment slots and devastating specials, I haven't failed to run up the Spire of Order. With the right color chip set, the Pearl Drone becomes an unstoppable force, causing constant explosions and mayhem on screen, to the point where it's impressive Side Order maintains 60 frames per second. Each bite-sized floor in Side Order presents you with 3 different missions to choose from, ranging in difficulty from easy to rigorous. The harder the mission you select, the more currency and better color chip you'll earn as a result. It's a great risk-reward system that forces me to decide if I want to risk it all for a color chip that could greatly enhance my current build, or play it safe to ensure my run lasts one more floor. Variety is the name of the roguelite game, and Side Order does a decent job at mixing up its objectives and maps across each run. Some missions are great single-player spins on Splatoon 3's ranked multiplayer modes, like guiding a turbine tower to its destination or defending a splat zone from incoming waves of enemies. One of the best mission types involves closing portals that enemies are pouring out of, while two of the more annoying objectives have you push a series of balls to a goal or chase down and defeat a set of squirrely, high-speed enemies. Map design is pretty hit or miss in Side Order. There are definite highlights, like a multi-story tower where I had to guide the turbine all the way down to the bottom and back up to the top, a room made up entirely out of grind rails, or a very bouncy trampoline park. But a lot of the maps feel pretty generic and blend together after a while. That said, to its credit, I am still seeing new floors crop up even more than 12 hours in. Things get really interesting when either the bonus or danger tags appear on the level select screen. Bonus levels add an additional objective on top of their regular goal, offering more rewards if you manage to complete it. That includes creative restrictions like not moving in Octoling form, not using your main weapon, or not jumping while you complete the main objective. Meanwhile, danger settings ramp up the difficulty pretty considerably, as one particularly memorable danger modifier turned out all the lights and covered the entire level in enemy ink. These modifiers are awesome, so I only wish they popped up a bit more often. No matter the map or the objective, Side Order does manage to stay fresh, in part thanks to the introduction of its fantastic new enemies, the gelatin. These fish skeleton creatures are intimidating to look at and really fun to fight. If Salmon Run is Splatoon's Left 4 Dead, Side Order is its Days Gone, as I spent a lot of time swimming away in terror from the seemingly endless amount of gelatin wriggling toward me. There are more than 10 different types of basic gelatin enemies, and each has its own unique strength and weakness. Towering Noblemente are able to snipe you from across the map, while Drizzling Capriccioso will take over your territory in an instant if you're not keeping an eye out above you. Some enemies drop items upon death that you can use to your advantage, like the Whirling Accelerando's top that you can send crashing into waves of enemies, or the Springing Spiccato's jump pad that serves as a helpful way out of an overwhelming situation. While the basic enemies are great, one of the biggest failings of Side Order is its boss variety. Floors 10, 20, and 30 are always boss fights, but there's a surprising lack of bosses for a game mode all about replayability. For example, floor 30 is always the same final boss, and it doesn't increase in difficulty on repeat playthroughs. Floors 10 and 20 pull from a combined pool of just 3 boss types, meaning you'll see the same ones over and over and over. Side Order also has some minor pacing issues that leave its runs feeling less snappy than I'd like, with too much time taken up by level selection and chatty dialogue scenes in the elevator. With already excellent weapon variety and intense combat, Splatoon 3 is a perfect fit for a roguelike game mode. Side Order's outstanding new enemies and powerful set of abilities result in the craziest combat power trip Splatoon has ever seen. It does occasionally stumble when implementing its roguelite elements, leading to some repetitive boss fights and poor pacing. But even with those issues, this DLC is still a blast. Add in another stellar soundtrack and a distinct style that sets it apart from the rest of the series, and Side Order is a worthwhile stop at the Splatoon 3 buffet. For more on Splatoon, check out our reviews of Splatoon 3's single-player campaign and multiplayer modes, and be sure to watch our review of Foam Stars, that other colorful team-based shooter that launched earlier this year. And for everything else, stick with IGN.